All right, here we go. So again, the PowerPoint is on your Canvas. So on the next page from the warm-up, you should be able to see it. So I'm going to record just where I'm actually working today, and we'll kind of go from there. The iPad should be a little bit clear, and we'll go from there, and I'll upload those shortly. All right, so it says Renee hiked for 4 3/4 miles. After resting, Renee hiked back along the same route for 3 1/3 miles. How many more miles does Renee need to hike to return to the place where she started? Okay, so first of all, Renee hiked 4 3/4 miles. This pen's not very dark. Let me see if I can find a darker one. All right, and then it says Renee hiked back along the same route. She's hiking back along the same route for 3 1/3 miles. But my question says, how many more miles does Renee need to hike to get back to where she started? Okay, so before we even begin to approach this problem, what operation do we think is taking place here? What do you think, Zana?
Subtraction.
There's subtraction, right? Because what we're trying to figure out is how much more space does Renee need to go? This is the part where personally I would take notes. I see some of us are on our computers. That's your choice. I'm not going to penalize you for that. But just understand this is a component of your test for tomorrow, so I want you to be aware of that. All right, so I'm going to subtract these. So I'm going to have 4 3/4 minus 3 1/3. Nod your head if you understand why I'm subtracting these two numbers. Okay. Ruger, can you tell me what type of number is this? It's a mixed number, very good. Isaac, can I do my subtraction with mixed numbers?
No.
I cannot. What do I need to convert them to, Nathan?
You need to do greatest common factor?
I do, but before I get to greatest common factor, I gotta convert them to something else first. Do you know what that vocabulary word is?
Improper fraction.
Very good. Reed, can you tell the class, how do we go to improper fractions?
You multiply the denominator by the whole number and add that to the numerator.
Good. 4 times 4 is 16. Plus 3 is 19 over 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. 10 over 3. Jackson, you good with that so far? Okay. All right, Anthony, I want to find common denominators. Do you remember the easiest way that I've told you to find common denominators? That was great. I love that you're looking back in your notes. Katie, do you remember the easiest way to find common denominators? Reed, what do I do?
You multiply them by
Good. We're going to multiply them together. So 4 times 3 gives me 12. So that means my new denominator is going to be 12. Okay, now my question becomes this though. How do I get from 4 to 12? What do I have to multiply 4 by to get to 12, Mariah?
3.
By 3. So I've got to multiply this entire thing by 3. So now I'm going to come over here and do some side math. 19 times 3. I get 57. So I've got 57 over 12 minus, Rosie, how did I get from 3 to 12?
Times 4.
Times 4, so I've got to multiply 10 times 4, which is 40. So now my new problem looks like this. 57 twelfths minus 40 twelfths, and that would be my new answer. Okay? Can anybody tell me what 57 minus 40 is? Jackson.
17.
Very good. So now we end up with 17 over 12. Now, Ziana, what's wrong with this though? Why can that not be my final answer?
It's an improper fraction.
It's an improper fraction. Do not leave your answers improper in my classroom. Do not leave them improper. I've got to turn this into a mixed number by doing 17 divided by 12. Well, 12 goes into 1 0 times. 12 goes into 17 once. And I'm left with 5 remainder. So our final answer is going to be 1 5/12. Are we good there? Easy enough, right? Like that wasn't that complicated, was it? Okay. Anybody want me to go over it again, answer anything specifically, or are we okay? Okay, let's keep moving then. All right, now this question doesn't make a whole lot of sense because we know that in football we cannot have a half a yard penalty. We can only have full yards, but we're going to go with it anyways.
You can't. You can't have half a yard penalty.
I guess if it was half the distance to the goal line, you could.
Well, it's half a yard.
Yeah, because if
If you're half the distance to the goal line and you're on the one, I guess you could, but that's a little bit more
you're like pass interference.
uniqueness.
You mean with an even penalty? No, it just.
All right, Anthony, hey, we're good, we're good. All right, so the first play of the football game resulted in a loss of 12.8 yards. How would I represent 12.8 yards as a loss? How would I represent that with a number if I lost 12.8 yards? Caden? Yeah, negative 12.8. And then it says then a penalty resulted in another loss of 5.5 yards. So how would I represent another loss of 5.5 yards? Read.
Negative 5.5.
But the question then asks me, what is the total loss? So what I want to know is, how many yards did I lose total? At the end of both of those penalties, how many yards did we lose? Okay, so what operation am I going to do with these two numbers? Caden, we're going to add them together, right? I'm not subtracting because I'm combining two penalties. It's like this. If you're doing an assignment and you lose 10 points for this question and 10 points for that question, how many total points did you lose? 20, right? So this is question 1. You lost 12.8 points on this one, and you lost 5.5 points on this one, so I'm going to combine them together, and it's still going to be a negative, okay? So if I add two negatives together, what's my final answer going to be? If I add two negatives together, Anthony, what does that come out to be? No, sir.
Oh, dang it, never mind.
Multiply.
Negative.
Negative, right? The time that a negative times a negative, that's when it becomes positive. But if we're just combining them, and you think about a grade though, right? I don't change your grade that you're losing points on to be positive points, do I? No. That'd be awesome if we did, but we don't. So here we're going to just add like normal because our decimals are lined up. 8 plus 5 is 13. 5 plus 2 is 7 plus 1 is 8. Bring down that. So my final answer is they lost negative 18.3 yards. Negative 18.3 yards. Questions on that one? Mariah, you good there? Cool.
Bad start for that team.
Very bad start for a team. Kind of like when the Cowboys gave up a neutral zone infraction on the first play of the game yesterday.
Wasn't that like a loss of like 10 or
It was just 5.
something?
All right, third question. Rosie, how am I doing on time?
Good, 8 minutes.
8 minutes, perfect.
Wait, we have 8 minutes left of class?
No, sir. There's a limit on how long my videos can be. And so she's just helping me keep up to date. A water pail in your backyard has a small hole in it. Can anybody tell me what a water pail is? You might know what a water pail is. Caden, what's a water pail? Yeah, it's just a metal bucket, right? Like you watch some old movie about a farm and you see them like milking a cow and they're putting the cow's milk into that metal bucket. That's a water pail. It's just literally a metal bucket, okay? And it says your water pail, so I'm a terrible artist. I'm just letting you know, so don't judge me. Why is the handle bigger than the bucket? I don't know. Just leave me alone. So here's our metal pail. It looks more like a square head with an afro, but we're going to call it a metal bucket. And there's a hole in it right here. And water is leaking out of this, okay? And it says you've noticed that it drained a total of 3.5 liters. 3.5 liters in 4 days. And my question asks me, what is the average change in water volume each day? Okay, so the answer that's giving me is it has 3.5 liters in 4 days. But the question's asking, how much does it lose per day? So let me ask you this. What operation do you think that we are doing in this problem? Read? Division. Because I know what 4 days is, but I now need to figure out what 1 day is. So let me ask you this. Am I going to do 3.5 liters divided by 4 days? Or am I going to do 4 days divided by 3.5 liters? Let me rephrase my question because obviously that one did not go over very well. Am I trying to figure out liters or days? I'm trying to figure out how many liters per day, right? Okay, So do I want to divide out my number of liters by days or my days by liters?
Liters by day.
Liters by day? Let me try it a different way. How do I want to phrase? I'm obviously not sinking through there. Which one's going to go in the box? Let me ask you that way.
Liters.
Liters? So you think it's going to be 4 divided into 3.5? Or is it going to be 3.5 divided into 4?
When you make it look like that, it looks like 4 is the bigger number.
But that doesn't mean anything though. We could have a less than 1 number.
I think it's 4 inside the box.
Inside the box?
That's what I'm asking you.
I think it's 4 inside the box.
Think it's 4 inside the box? Kendall, what do you think?
I think it's 4 inside the
Either, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's inside the box.
Ruger, what do you think?
box. I feel like I'm wrong, but I think it's 4 inside the box.
Nathan?
I think 3.5 in the
3.5? Anthony?
I'm a leader, I'm following, I think it's 3.5 inside the box.
Well, both people answered their questions, therefore you're following somebody on both of them.
Well, I wish.
Mariah, what about you? What do you think?
I think it's 4 inside the box.
Reed?
I already said 4.
Rosie?
4 inside the box.
Caden?
I think it's 3.
Simon, what do you think?
4 inside the box.
Inside the box? Alright, let's think about it. This is the total number. 3.5 liters is what it has lost so far in 4 days. So this number is what we want to divide or break up into our number of days. We are dividing up 3.5 liters by 4 days. 3.5 liters divided into 4 days. So the 3.5 is the one that's going to go inside of the box. Okay? So let me show you a different way to write this. So if we have it this way, we can solve it as decimals or fractions. It makes no difference to me. I'm going to go ahead and just solve it as decimals, so that's how I have it written out. 4 goes into 3 how many times? 0. How many times does 4 go into 35?
8.
What is 4 times 8?
32.
Okay, but I still got this number now. How do I continue going on with this problem?
Add a 0 and bring it down.
Do what?
Add a 0 and
How many times does 4 go into 30?
3.
7.
7.
4 times 7 is 28. Add another 0, right? How many times does 4 go into 20?
5 times.
And then I'm done. Can anybody tell me where my decimal is supposed to go?
Directly up.
Directly up right here. Now let's think about that. Let's think about what this answer represents now. 0.875 liters per day. Doesn't that sound reasonable if 3.5 is for 4 days?
Yes.
Well, 8, let's just round this up. Do we agree that 0.875 is really close to 9? Well, 9 plus 9 is 1.8 or 18. 27, 36. Isn't 36 or 3.6 really close to 3.5 here, which is what we have? So we see how that one balances out and makes sense? Okay, there's one more question. I'm going to hold off on that one to give you guys time to start the quiz. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
What time is the process?
Yes,
10:10.